Welcome to another edition of Inspired Discussions. They call me Sibley. Serving people is who I am, is what I do. I'm with my co-host.
Remy, realizing energy made me. Yes, sir.
As
We're going.
always, everybody, it is a pleasure to have y'all tuned in with us this week. And once again, we wanted to talk about one thing, and then we started talking about something else. And I was like, that's the topic for today. And
Right.
just to sum it up, and then just the transition into it. We was talking about the just gonna have to be a I'm gonna have to watch my words too.
Bro, you really about to break in 60 seconds? You do that, nigga. You the best in the world. You the
no,
best in period. Cause
no,
I'm like, yeah.
just to sum it up, we was talking about how the previous generation before us is so hard for them to adapt change. Yeah, that's how I'm about to sum it up. Just that,
Okay.
like because that's really like the basis of it, and how
True.
is how it's hard for them to adapt to change. And we was talking about some of the situations that we have dealt with that's I guess you can say that's evidence to that lack of
Yeah.
wanting to adapt to change.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Real life experience and situations behind why we thought or said what we said in regards to them not being able to change. Yeah, definitely. Now, at the same time, well, okay. Well, first off, are you still gonna give the first 17 minutes, or it's just like no, it starts right there where we had the introduction.
I don't know, man. I figure it out. I'm gonna have to work extra to do all of that. We'll see.
I got an idea for that, but anywho, um, yeah. So he didn't he didn't really get it until after it came out, and then after it came out, that's when I started getting the oh my god, that's something special right there. It reminded me of this is them saying it, not me. It reminded me of that speech Granddaddy had in church, or this conversation Granddaddy had, or this thought that me and my father had, or me and my brother had, and like, yo, that's something special. And I received all the support after the fact, while in the beginning of me breaking down what is actually about to happen, it was like, I get it. It's cool. I ain't gonna tell you not to do it, but I ain't gonna tell you that you should go ahead and do it either. Like I'm like, yo, come on now. But after getting so many of those moments though, that's when I started getting like, okay, it doesn't matter how anybody feel about something. And I had this thought even more after we had that one episode at the beginning that we was talking about, and I was talking about how I felt about not receiving support. That also tied into that as well. It's like, okay, it doesn't really matter as long as I'm living within my own truth and understanding anybody else around me, if you even consider people to be above or below someone else, them being resistant to change shouldn't matter at all, period. Even if it is someone close to you that you hold high respects for.
And you really want to get it, and I think that's where the hurt comes in.
Right.
You like, look,
Yeah.
why don't you understand this? Why? What part of this you not understanding? Don't you see
Right.
how clear this looks? Like, don't you see how clear this looks? Like, in your same breath,
Right.
you can say all of these things, but then I tell you this, and you duh. Like,
No, that's real. That's exactly what it was. Like I knew. I'm like, yo, he about to love this. It was like, nah, I don't know about that. I get where you're going, but I don't know about that. Yeah.
yeah, because like I was saying, would
Wow.
I? Because I I stay away from saying like they never gonna get it because I'm starting to experience now. It's starting to click for my mom she said she be talking to, and I have to catch myself because I'm like, no, that wouldn't be encouraging to say that. Because it'd be a lot of times where I'd be wanting to tell her, like, yeah, that's what I was trying to tell you like 5 years ago. You know, so, but I'm like that's not encouraging because it's like, why does it matter when I was trying to tell it? All that matters right now, this moment that she get it. You know, you know that she get it because I can go on, you know, for a whole podcast talk about what if people would have seen what I was saying, because I think I might have mentioned it before when we got it might be on like the business podcast or maybe something after before that. Like, I'm starting to see a lot of people like really get into their entrepreneur bag and, you know, like really tap into, you know, self-sufficiency and wanting to like not their job income be their only source of income. Who the hell been on that for the last 7 years? Like, that's been my whole message. Like, that's been my whole message. So
all right. Now, this isn't to take away from what you're saying. Everything you're saying is factual, at least from what I've known about you, period. At the same time, I would think a heavy factor that would come into play to that, because I agree, I see a lot of people doing that, the independent business, et cetera, on their own. I'm like, well, COVID. Niggas under pressure now, and they're like, all right, I gotta do something. The pressure is on me, and you can't run away from it.
And you know, and I don't disagree with that. And that's really what I was getting into. Like, I can harp on and be like, be like, see, I was and put my energy. See, this what I was trying to tell y'all, and blah blah. Y'all could have been on this. I can put all my energy into that, or I can just, you know, be grateful that they finally here. And it's like, let's create. Let's create. Like, what's up? What we gonna do? And that's fine, but what's so beautiful about that COVID pressure? Like, that's what it takes, because it took the pressure for me. It took that pressure for me. Was like the pressure for me all the years being like, I really like. I seen it from a standpoint where I'm like, shoot, I haven't lasted more than 2 years at any job. You know, and when I do quit, I'm just like, the hell would you, chuck up the deuces. I'm gone. Right. I'm out of here. So it was like the pressure for me was like, shoot, this is not who I am. You know, like, I cannot just, this has never been my thing. You know, and you know what's so amazing about that? People would chop it up to like, he don't want to work, he lazy, he this and this, or maybe I'm not doing what's naturally makes me feel good, and that's why I'm going around here trying to find myself. Nobody ever looks at it like that. They always go into the negative and be like, oh, he lazy, he don't want to work, he do this, or no, maybe what I'm doing is not what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm trying to find what I'm supposed to be doing and what really lights me up inside. And, you know, they never look, they always label it something that's just negative, like, especially when it comes to Black people. Yeah, I'm gonna say like, oh, he's lazy. That's real. I'm doing real. Something not within my purpose, and it's not resonating. I'm not supposed to be on this vibrational path, and I'm not supposed to be on this vibrational frequency is a better way of saying it, and you're forcing me to be here. I don't like it here.
No, that's real. That is so real. That's so real. That's something you say that, because, like I said, I was up since probably 5 a.m, and it was 2 other like little lectures or whatnot that I was trying to finish watching last night, but I fell asleep, and I was like, you know what? Let me just sit up here and watch them. And that, the way you just broke that down, was actually one of the episodes one of the lectures that I was watching and listening to. because was it Alan Watts? I can't remember the name of the dude. It was a different person, but his lecture was, I'll probably send you the link actually. His lecture was how we're so, as an individual, we're always aware, or dang, what do you say? Our faults, perception. Oh yeah. The way we perceive our lives is a false reality, because as we're living as individuals, we feel as if everything surrounds us, as if we're the center of the universe. And though it may be good, though it may be bad, it's necessarily it shouldn't even matter. That shouldn't even be a necessity, but it's such a default way of thinking, to where when you're living your life, whether it's something good that is happening or something bad that is happening, you feel as if it happened to you and you were the effect behind it. When on the flip side of that, you can actually look at your life as you're not the only one that is going through or living through that said moment as well. So like the example he used was, you wake up miserable as hell, you didn't get a lot of sleep, you get up, go to work, put in an 8-hour shift, and you know you got to get back home to get some rest and some dinner or whatnot. But on your way going home, you know you got to go grocery shopping, but the highway is flooded with cars. You're miserable, like, yo, I just want to do this and get back home, period. I don't care about nothing else that's going on around me. And you go there, you get your food, you get whatever you need from the grocery store. You're in line miserable because you're still trying to get back home, irritated. And then by the time you get back home, you don't even realize that the entire time you spent miserable, you could have actually spent being meaningful and living on the opposite scale of I forgot the word he used, but the opposite scale of being miserable. You can feed into your own energies in a way, so you're not perceiving yourself to be as the only one, when yet at the same time you're not the only one. And you don't have to live that way. You can choose to be one or the other, but you're already in a default set of mind to where it's like, okay, I'm just gonna go with what I know.
I rock with that. And before I get into what I want to say, Alan Watts, he a OG, like from like the 1900s or so.
Yeah, 1950s, 30s, 40s. Yeah.
I'm gonna say because it sounds like a lot of his teachings are Neville Goddardish. Like he teaches a lot of this things like Neville Goddard. Neville
Yeah.
Goddard. Because I feel like I heard. I think I might have came across Alan Watts before you. Alan Watts before you brought him into my awareness. You might have just brought him back. I might have watched or listened to a couple of his teachings, because he sounds a lot like Neville Goddard and how he teach the Bible, and because that's a Bible parable right there that you just.
I ain't gonna lie to you. You're the first person that I've heard tie that comparison to him, and I'm like, wow, somebody else actually drew a parallel with that. Well, on my end, I'm like, man, I ain't about to say nothing like that. That's a whole nother conversation. I got to break down just to get a comparison. But okay, okay.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. You know, man, I'm a personal development guy. Like anything about getting better, like, I'm always gonna take it to the next level.
That's what's up.
And I love listening to people like that, and that's really what that's really why I wanted to mention that, because I love listening to people like that, because when you can listen to something and that was published in the 1950s and it still resonates 150 years, whatever, how many X amount of years later, that's how you know these laws of the universe are to be governed in a certain way.
Fact. They will never change, bro. They are permanent.
Never. That's if it's one constant about life, it is the way the laws of the universe work, or the laws of God, or however you relate to it. source of being and power, they will always remain the same no matter what. Like, no matter what. And that's what I was getting into when I was telling you, like, I'm taking this time to get back regrounded, because if it's one constant, I need to be as within, so without. As I am with inside, is I'm going to project everything on the outside of me, and that's what's going to affect it. So if I'm not grounded on the inside, everything outwardly is gonna, like you were saying, I'm gonna be putting energy in the stuff that I have no business putting energy into,
bro.
Because I'm not grounded. I'm not grounded. See how I brought that back around?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, so if I'm not grounded, like ain't nothing else gonna be right. And that's why I love that type of personal development, because I'm like, I can draw those Bible parallels, and I can go to certain scriptures, and they hit me different now because I got a different perspective. Like, I know,
bro, man, yes,
I know, like, because my viewing on the Bible now is strictly and nothing more. It is a book on consciousness, and it's a book on consciousness. The 12 disciples are nothing more than the 12 faculties of the mind. Like, each one of those disciples is a personality trait that you have within yourself. Like, you can do what Peter did. You can do what Paul did. All of them. Judas, like all of them. It is some type of parallel that you have within yourself. Like, because the disciples, if the disciples see, now I'm kind of getting into.
I'm ready. I got a few things, but I'm gonna let you get it out.
Because if the disciples were quote unquote of God and follow Jesus, and we are made in that image, the disciples are within us. So, and that's
fact.
That's whole.
Now, the best part about that, of what you just said, the one thing that stands out and holds the most the greatest level of value in between what you just said is being able to have that understanding or view on the Bible and things within the Bible, while at the same time, and I'm just going to continue using myself as an example, being raised in the church up under one said religion, and still experiencing the greatest man period in life, in my eyes.
Ever do it.
My eyes.
I think that's in a lot of eyes, though, man. I think that's in a lot.
No, for real. I mean, I could say that. I could say that proudly in everybody's eyes, to be perfectly clear. But we talking about religion here, and niggas get sensitive when you start putting religion on them. You're like, in my eyes too. Don't say that about my eyes. No, you don't know the person I'm talking about, and you just confused. That's all it is. But that's another. That's another thing.
I'm gonna pray for your understanding.
Right, but being able to look at it in a totally different light, instead of looking at it as a recommended way of living or an only way of living, when it's necessarily a way of life that elevates you and the values that you already have as a human being or as an individual. Being able to break it down and look at it totally different, that's what I got so excited for, because the way you brought that up like that. You looked at everything differently, and being able to look at the 12 disciples within who you are as an individual, instead of looking at it as an overall story or image that you're supposed to craft yourself around. That's not the case. It's necessarily not you crafting yourself around the story, but the story being crafted within you. Though it sounds the same, it's different. You get what that?
No, that's the perfectly way to put it. And there draws the line. And that's where the bondage is created. Because and even in this statement, like, it's true, but it's so false because it's misleading.
Yeah.
The Bible is taught that like this is the laws of the universe. Like this is how you supposed to live. And it is. The Bible, the laws of the universe are within the Bible. It's not taught in the proper way though. So then it creates the bondage where it's like you go back and be like, oh, he did this and that and that, and you get the judging, and it's like, yeah, like then you get into this competitive flow, and you get took out of your creative because you're not being talked about the consciousness. Because I think when we think about like the upbringing that we came up on, it was holiness or hell, and how I try and translate that now, wholeness or hell. If you're not whole, you're going to live a life of hell.
Right, bro. Right.
You're going to live a life of hell. And how you become whole, them nuggets are in the Bible. It's just not taught from an aspect of consciousness. Because even like how it was taught to us, like we didn't understand it until years.
Yeah, right.
He wasn't necessarily speaking to us. We was in there to hear it, of course, but he wasn't necessarily speaking our language. Like that's not our language. And that's where now we kind of getting into the religion part, the religion talk a little bit. And that's like what I always tell people that's in our circle. Let's just say that without mentioning names. I tell people like you can't be afraid to put the religion into your language where people is going to be able to adapt it and hear it, because it goes back, it ties back into the adapting, being the failure to adapt to the change. Like because that language, like we don't, it don't resonate with us because it's too much bondage in it. It's too much bondage in it. Even the way that we were being taught, like we was very fortunate to come up under leadership that accepted everyone. Outside of a couple situations where it's like, oh no.
Right.
That accepted but even in those oh no situations, it was still accepting, but he made it known like that's not the way you do this. Like you hurt, like you dealing with some type of trauma that you need to be delivered from. But yeah, like we was very fortunate to come under leadership like that because it was genuine. It was genuine. And like I say, now I can just go back and I can just listen to so many of his sermons, and I'm like, oh, he was telling me like he had the blueprint of how you become whole. Like the blueprint of how you become whole.
Now to add on to that, what you had said about the leadership that we had, and you said something about being judgmental and whatnot. And what stood out was the leadership that we had, what we grew up under, knowing what we know now, even though we've heard it when we was younger, we didn't fully get it. The difference in between the leadership that we had and the leadership that we see nowadays is the leaders we had when we was younger, they presented it in the way to where it's easily digestible, and yet you can look at it and appreciate it years down the line, even though you're not even getting it then. While compared to now, today's date, the leaders that we get, they're presenting it in a way where it may be digestible, but at the same time, it leaves room to view religion and live life through judgment. And that wasn't the case with what we had when we was younger. Being like that, and like we said, those older than us, the generations before us, them being so stuck in their own ways and not being able to change with the times, depending on whatever levels or scenario, situation, moments you want to apply. Us being able to look at it and not live through judgment is the biggest difference between them and us. We're digesting it, we're living through it, we're understanding it, even though we already had it when we was younger, but it's not from the initial level of judgment. While on their end, they received the exact same message, which is confusing as hell to me. They received the exact same message, but yet the way they digested it came from a level of judgment to begin with.
Yeah,
I'm like, yo.
I don't even have an answer. Yeah, I don't even have an answer to that. But and it's so amazing that we got on this subject and just talking about like how certain things didn't really understand. You remember how we used to close certain services. All that I am because of all that I am. All that I am not, I am because of me. All that I am because of thee. That means so much. I was just saying it,
bro. You remember that? That's crazy.
But now it ties back into like the being grounded. Like all that I am because all that I am not, I am because I'm so on the outer. I'm so focused on things that are outer, things that on the outer world they can affect me,
Right.
And all that I am because of thee. Thee is inside of me, the inward. It's the inward. All that I am is because it is strictly determined on how whole I am within myself.
Nigga. Yes. Yes.
It's stuff like that where I'm like, ooh, that was a Jew.
Right, bro. I forgot all about that one, to be honest.
That may be the Jew. Like that may be the most important nugget right there. Like all that you not is because you so focused on the outer things. Outer things can affect you and make you feel a certain way. Like because you're not whole within.
Right. Now, when you said that, the other one, I'm surprised you remember that one because I didn't think about that one off top. I thought you was about to go with at the end. Sometimes he'll say I think he said shake hands with yourself or something. You're shaking hands with your best friend and your worst enemy. Oh man, that one was
great. With your brothers and sisters, like
bro.
I remember, and that's another one too.
Yes, that's a different level. It sounds so simple. A lot of this stuff is so simple.
That's what he said after that, because he'd do like this. Yeah, he'd do like this. Like now you shaking hands with your best friend and your enemy. Now shake hands with your brothers and your sisters.
Bro, man. Like I said, when we was younger, we heard it. We didn't put too much thought into it. But now, bringing it back up, man, that is so true. It's so simple, bro. So simple, but so in depth at the same time.
And these laws never change. These laws never change. Those laws of the universe, like those laws, like it just. I think I mentioned it on the podcast before, like the human, I guess you can say, species is the most advanced species on this damn planet, but we don't act as such.
Facts.
We don't act as such. Like all our problems, we can fix them ourselves.
No, that's true.
If we get on this overall world consciousness, and that's why I want to do the Billionaire Academy, because the Billionaire Academy is about that increasing your self-awareness. Like increase your self-awareness. If you focus on increasing your self-awareness, like you doing mankind justice, because now you operating on a different plane, and then we gonna bring about the things that we don't even know that's in that unknown right now. Like that's the thing. Like, we won't bring about the things, like everything is created from the formless. You know,
Yeah.
like everything is created for the formless. Genesis talks about it. Like that's what Genesis is about, created from the formless. Like, cause he created everything from the
Literally.
formless. You say
Literally, yeah.
he looked over there and the grass will turn green. That's consciousness. You know, like that's consciousness.
Right.
Let there
Right.
be
It's
light.
the way you perceiving that.
Yeah,
Right.
like,
No.
like let there be light, and there was.
Facts.
He had that consciousness, like that's gonna be called sun. Like that's from the formless.
This nigga ain't here preaching.
I am though. I really am.
Yes,
Like
no.
that's because man, that stuff makes so much more sense now because I understand it not from the end all be all, but like it's more so it is the end all be all because like I say, it's kind of hard to explain it because it's the way it has been manipulated over time. You know, they literally took something that was of very great use, and that's the key to life, and took and just put this bad stigma on it to where people won't even, because like I told you, like I was like the hell with the Bible. Like I'm good on it. Like I'm good on it. Like
no. I get. I'm not disagreeing, and I'm not necessarily agreeing as well. But it's to the level of being aware of what it presents to you in your life, not what your life should be based around. Like it is, but it ain't at the same time. And how you just said that it's been a tool, but yet it's been so manipulated in so many ways. Even easier example would be just looking at the Bible as a tool, a hammer. And you know you're supposed to just be using the hammer one way, hitting in nails and pulling out the nails. But you out here using the hammer to bust down walls, throw it like it's a freaking boomerang or something. Like, bro, no.
Boy, I tell you, the growth among this podcast is tenfold on both of us. That is the best example, parallel that you have ever given on this podcast. This is a fucking breakthrough episode, boy. That was that's what I want my podcast partner to draw parallels like that. Now you draw parallels like that all the time.
Okay, bad boys. All right, bad boys. I get it. But no, that's real, bro. It's used one way. You out here using it several different ways, bro. Come on.
Exactly. And then that's a great. Oh man, I'm dead ass serious when I say that is the greatest parallel I ever heard you draw. And you know what's so amazing about that? It's the same kind of example type that I watched it. I think the most recent ET video he put on the tube belt, and he was talking about the assessment. He was like, "You taking a flathead screwdriver to the job, and you need the Phillips." You know, so
yeah,
like
yeah. I like that. I like that too.
I like that too. So
yeah,
man, I'm just blown away at what you just did there.
No, I still got some more because I got my last little piece written down because I didn't want to forget it. But at the same time, from what you were saying previously, being what you said you call that Billionaire Academy or something.
Yeah, the Billionaire Academy. Yeah.
Yeah, and bringing self-awareness or elevating your consciousness. I forgot what you said. Even with people hearing that, for most they're thinking so in depth to where it's like, oh, self-awareness and bringing or understanding my consciousness on a whole nother level. Those phrases like that sound so complicated and in depth to where, okay, one, it is because there are certain things within being able to understand that you can only live through, first off, to even get step 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Right.
And at the same time, it's so simple to where you have to be able to evaluate, understand, analyze what you're already going through in your life to change your way of thinking, or to bring a greater enlightenment within yourself in your present day situation of your life. That's all that it is. Statements like that confuse people, but yet it's so simple. It's just bringing a different way of thinking about who you are and the choices that you make within your own thoughts of your life. That's all that it is, really. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a great,
Absolutely.
it's a great idea. When do you have like a structure? Is there anything else like to give?
It's coming. It's I got a little outline brainstorm. It's it's coming. It's coming together more
Okay.
better.
Well, within everything we just said, talking about changes and other generations or other people not being able to accept change while yet uh, resisting or hesitating to a greater level of how this said change may bring to not only their lives but others, it made me wonder, so where does that put us when we're older, when we're that other generation?
And see, that's the responsibility that's the big responsibility that we have. We have to there here go this awareness again. We have to stay self-aware that just maybe, no matter how groundbreaking we are and status quo changers we are, no matter what barriers we break down, this generation before us is gonna uncover something from the unseen that we gonna have to adapt to and adjust to, because that's that's evolution. That's
Facts.
evolution. We never like that's the thing. We gotta always keep in the back of our mind, like at some point, what I believe is going to evolve into something else.
Yeah, that shift will always happen because
It,
it's a
it,
natural thing that happens.
it's always gonna happen. That's how we always push forward. That's how we always push forward. We're pushed forward as a society through pioneership. Like
Yeah, yeah,
any like, look what Amazon is doing to the retail business. Look what Netflix is about to do to the movie industry. I'm telling you, I'm calling it right now. And even Coach is even a more of a sign of it. Netflix is about to dominate the way movie like Hollywood is done and movies are done because they really believe it. For one, I love their CEO. And not just to get off subject, but I just want since we talking about
yeah.
Netflix. I watched this and it kind of ties into like what we talk about a lot. I watched
Yeah.
this interview of the CEO of Netflix, and the interview was right after Disney Plus dropped their streaming platform. And the guy that was giving him the interview, he kept trying to bring up, you got Disney, do you worry about this and that? And the CEO was just so locked in and in tune, like basically to sum it up, Disney do what they do and Netflix do what we do. And so just looking at that, it's like, and I draw the parallel, it's like when you hold within and you shore yourself within, ain't nothing
Yeah.
on the outside can affect that. Like he telling my
Bad.
like he like, look, Disney, that they great, but we Netflix,
Bad.
like we Netflix, like we not worried.
No, that's real.
Like we not worried. We not worried, and Disney normally keep all the good stuff on there. They used it to promo, and then they took all the good stuff off. But that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother.
No, that's real though, because that just this thought. This is my last thought. It ties into. I think this was the last episode, maybe the episode before that. But how I had said, your purpose, your work will always be there for you no matter what. Period. There is nothing that's going to change that. There is no law. There is no disaster. There is no storm, tragedy that will move that purpose or your work in any way, shape, or form. Period. It will always remain there. It's going to always be there. And it's just about you realizing that it is there. It's so simple. But just because of the way you perceiving life in general, you're so distracted on all this other chaos that you don't even see that this diamond right here, it done moved all around you in every way. You looking everywhere else but at the diamond, bro.
The first thing that popped in my head when you said that is kind of a quote, and I don't know if this is exactly, but is the best ideas or some of the greatest ideas are in the cemetery.
Say it again.
Some of the best and greatest ideas are at the cemetery because people never fulfill their purpose, and it was only theirs. It was only theirs. It was only theirs because it ties into what you're saying. It's always gonna be there. Like what your calling is always gonna be there. And like you always like to refer to a certain type of ripples, like you just never tapped into the right ripples to get you there, but you took it to your fucking grave with you. You don't take it to your grave with you if you don't step into it. And you step
into it. God.
And I'm believing like that's what this COVID pressure has done to people. They understanding like, listen, I'm gonna take this to my grave if I don't do it right now. You know, like I'm a die a worker. You know, I'm not gonna leave no legacy. You can't leave legacy being a worker. I'm sorry. Well, let me stop. I want to be respectful.
Nah, nigga, no.
No.
In a statement like that, there is no respect or disrespectful. The truth is the truth because these laws don't change.
You're right. But
no, listen, because if they take it as disrespect, then that's a problem on their end of how they're perceiving it. We're acknowledging the laws that don't change because they so natural.
You're right.
Forget that.
You're right. I'm being too sensitive. You're right. You're right. I'm being too sensitive to the sensitivity, but so
we got to respect for other individuals at the same time. But like you said, these laws don't change, bro. These things will forever remain, and they're
You're right. Because that's all you're gonna be. You're gonna be a worker. You can't. That's not legacy. Like, yeah, you worked hard. You showed up every day, but you don't have a legacy. You didn't make an impact. You didn't make an impact. You left somebody like that. Just goes like I think I might have said it on the very first episode.
Man, that's so
no one. I would never give anyone ever the power to say like because you didn't do what you were supposed to do, I couldn't do what I was supposed to do. Like I take it as my responsibility. Step on my stage. So like you ain't got no excuse. Like I've been doing this. Like I've been telling you what I want to do. You see me waking up every day grinding. You see what I work towards. Like all these ideas that I have said them to you at least once before. So no, there's no excuse. Like
get them, Simply. Get them niggas, boy.
No, because nobody had ever came to me and said that, and as you see, that those would be the type of things that I tell them. Like I got the time for that conversation.
Right? No, that's real, bro.
That conversation.
That's like, so real, bro.
Podcast, so we can have a damn conversation. How it's on you.
That's real. That's bro. I'm not gonna even add anything else to that. That part right there, that hit me because that is the thought that I've had. That was the beginning of me making moves and being aware of who I am as an individual, no matter the level and the leadership and the guidance that I've had within my life. That part right there, the legacy and being and being able to look at it and understand it as I'm gonna either die with it or I'm gonna let it live and continue to live even once I'm not here. That right there, that's what, yeah, that's an anchor within me for sure.
Absolutely. Sure. And like I take that mindset, like even when I do leave this earth in flesh, I'm gonna inspire people through that, because they're gonna be like, he put it out there on the line day in and day out. He was relentless at his attack. He stayed firm in his vision. He believed what he believed in. So now I'm about to start believing in what I believe in. You know, and that's what I say. Like, if you hustling and you out here grinding, it's all about you. You selfish. Like being a worker and being an employee is selfish. Like, yeah, okay, you put food on the table, blase, 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 blase. But you're selfish from just the standpoint is like, when your kids get older, you stop taking care of them. You know, you stop quote unquote supporting them, and then you teach them to go out there. Your legacy is you just create more workers. Like, that's your legacy. You create more workers.
Facts.
Oh, boy, I'm being real.
Man. No, that's real, bro. I'm like if you can
create more workers, like, and just
right.
Like, I always been like, that's that mediocre shit, and it ain't nothing mediocre about me. So I'm not about to live a life of mediocrity at all. Like, I deserve to live an abundant life. Like, I look at these yachts and these planes, and they resonate with my soul for a reason. Like, they're like, because if I didn't, if I truly, I can't desire something that's not mine. It can't resonate with me if it's not a part of me. So if I look at this private jet, if I look at this RV that's decked out, or a helicopter, or whatever it may so it be, like, I cannot desire those things, and those things cannot make me feel that way if it's not mine. Like, no, I don't all my work and I don't worship those things, but that don't make them bad, and that don't mean I can't have them.
Facts. Bro, okay. All right, this is my last one for real. I'm done. I'm done after this. I'm done. I promise you I'm done. I'm done. Bro, all right. This was it last week? I think it was last week. I'm gonna send it to you now. Period. I don't care. I'm gonna send you this. What I'm about to tell you. Last week, I had recorded another episode on my podcast, Me, You, and Value, and the script that I had wrote for Amari. Amari is a part of the script. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I'm gonna send it to you so you can read it. But oh my God. At the end of all of that, after we had our recording session and whatnot, took longer than expected. That's besides the point or whatever. But through us going through the script and creating what I envisioned at the end of the conversation, I mean, at the end of the session, so to speak, Amari has said, I've always respected you and looked at you as, if he's going through all of this, then I have no excuse for who I am as a person. And I stopped her at the same time, just because I know through looking at other individuals and the way they move, it's inspiring to a level. It's motivating, which is natural. At the same time, though, what's mine is mine. What's mine, my end goal and my hurdles, man, I'm tying up a whole bunch of episodes into this one. My end goal and the hurdles that I've had to even have this said end goal is all mine. So don't necessarily look at it as I can do it because he can. It's more so the fact of my end goal is mine individually, and my said hurdles to get to this end goal, they're all there individually. It's not I'm going to do it because this person did it. It's I'm going to do it because I know at the end of all of this, there is something greater for me. And it's through my own desire, through my own motivations, through my own understanding of the good and the bad, the negative, the positive, whatever you may be. Like you just said about when you're looking at these other yachts and greater moments or objects or whatever, however you want to look at it, you don't have those desires for nothing. They're attached to you because of who you are. So there's no other way to break that down. That is yours. The desire you have is for you as that individual. And the things you go through, the growth you take, the elevation, the new levels, the new devils that you go through are also yours as well. Exactly. So you cannot be them when you are already who you are as Sibley.
Exactly. And it just ties into like what we were just talking about in general about like with the Bible. Like I believe what that something is. I believe that's somewhere in the Bible. What's for you is for you, or something along that nature. I believe it's somewhere in there. Like these laws never change. They never change. They been like this since forever. Like forever. And even like, you know, Alan Watts and all of them. Hold on, is Alan Watts the author of science? Hold on.
You said what?
Hold on a minute.
Man, this was a freaking great episode.
It was, but I think damn, how did I find this? Let me see. Oh no, that's Wallace v. Wattles. Okay, but whatever. But I had to make sure Alan Watts wanted the author of Science of Getting Rich. So
oh, okay, yeah, no. That don't even sound like the title that you
no,
really had.
Even then, the Science of Getting Rich was published in the 1900s. So that's before, 50 years before the Neville Goddard teachings and the Alan Watts. That's 50 years before, So this information is timeless. These laws are timeless because they can govern the universe for BC, AC, DC, CCC. All of that. So
right.
And on that note, y'all, we're gonna cut it off right there because we gave y'all extreme value today. Y'all got me in a real rare form. I don't want to call it rare, but I got excited today, and because just helping y'all grow and just giving y'all value just from my personal experiences. I was watching, not to even really, expound on them, but I've been watching more podcasts and stuff just to study just the dynamics of it. And I was watching the Dame Dash one, and he said something along the lines, if you keep your basically what he was saying, if you keep the things that you have to overcome, those hurdles that you talk about to yourself, you selfish. Because they're not doing you no good keeping them to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not doing no good. So that's just what we try to do with this podcast, y'all. It's just to bring those real life, tangible, timeless. Because I think that might be like just the key from the day, being a timeless podcast, or whether 15, this is part of our legacy right here, because 15 years down the line, you can go to episode 12 and you know what we talked about on episode 12, and in that very moment it can free you because it's timeless information. So we really try to bring that to the podcast, and I don't even, if you ain't got nothing else to say, like I'm good.
No, I'm good.
All right, we love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Y'all know where to find us. We see y'all next week. Let's create.